You could start getting your cameras ready on your phones in case you want to take some nice photos. There's water here in case you need it. We'll just pause here. I just want to give a disclaimer. As it is winter, we may not see every single animal that you would expect here in the Toronto Zoo. But that being said, you may actually be surprised. You may see some animals and or organisms that you wouldn't normally see in the winter cold. So that's something that you want to reflect for thermoregulation. And as more people come in, we'll just move along now. Feel free to keep coming in. Okay, so I think our practicals are separating. We should wait for the other practicals to come in. Let me just let them know that we're here. Hi there. We're here for BIOA02 from UTSC. And so we just wanted to give you some details of the number of students we expect and parking tickets.
Okay, yeah, you're coming in today?
Yes.
Do you have your order number?
I can give it to you. Just give me one moment. If you want it in advance, I would tell you that the number of students we have is 53 in total.
I just need to know the
I see.
order number.
Order first, I see. Okay.
Just because we have multiple group bookings.
I see. It just may take a bit of time, but
okay.
30, okay.
Do you know what time you're supposed to check in? 10?
Yes.
Okay.
The number is 527 763 15.
That 53 students?
53 in total with TAs.
With TAs?
TAs like I guess the tour guides essentially, like including myself.
And then how many teachers?
Oh, those are the teachers. Sorry, like essentially we're coming in as labs, but essentially the teachers are the TAs. So those are in total. I would say the number is 53. Like with everyone, there's 3 teachers essentially and 50 students.
Okay. So 50 students, 3 teachers.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
There is another group that may come in from our group. They'll share the same details, but they just may update because they're waiting for some students to come from a final bus.
They're part of the same group?
Same group, yeah. So
are they part of the 50 students?
They may add in an extra student is what I mean. That's
okay. So is everyone here right now?
Yes. They were pretty much here. They're just filing in their
just because once I print the ticket,
yes,
I can't add anyone else onto it.
Okay, so I'll give you the final amount that I expect. It should be 50.
Okay. And then how many parking passes? How many people are driving?
We have 8.
8 cars?
Sorry, 9.
9 cars. Yes. Okay. Thanks.
No problem. Are all practicals?
Hello.
I saw.
Ours are rating 41 and 37. You rate them daily.
Okay. Okay. We may get a. So I'll give the tickets that you need, the passes for your group. And hopefully if you need multiple brochures for your number of students, you can take them. I think it's 30. Remember your hat? 7683
Tickets and some brochure.
Thank you so much. Okay. I guess actually thinking. Is it possible if we could get more brochures?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right.
This should actually be just for your group. If that's okay.
And then these are all parking passes. So whoever drove is going to need one to exit later on.
Yeah.
So those are all the parking passes.
Really appreciate it. Would it be okay about there's another batch if we could have like another one about this much, maybe 10 or 15? That'd be really amazing. Really appreciate it. Have an amazing day.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. You too. I'll just give you the thank you so much. Don't worry.
Oh, wow.
I'll pick that up. Thank you so much.
Even worse.
That's me need one. Is that okay? One. That should need it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
She needs two. There should be four. Perfect. Yeah.
Can I grab her brochures with you? Just few. She has the awesome.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. We can head in. Enjoy your practical.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. So before we go in, thanks for your patience, everyone. I just want to highlight, as it is an open space, many people may come in. No problem. From different practicals or even just from open access as regular admission. So don't worry. Just try to make space if they actually want to see organisms or if they want to take photos as well. For those that came via car, I can give you parking passes now, and then you'll essentially sign out with these QR codes. You, five. I have 5 in total. No problem. Who else? No problem. There you go. No problem. And I'll do as group. Like I could distribute accordingly. So, and you guys can, if you guys can share, that'd be great. If you need extras, that's okay as well. If you guys need extra, let me know. Who else? Actually, let's make our way in. So that will make space for those that are coming in now. Could I have an extra 5 or 2? Thank you, so much. Have a great day. Anyone else missing brochures? I can give them to you now.
Thank you.
No problem. Anyone need extra?
We do on the
You don't necessarily.
Okay.
But if you want it, let me know.
Okay.
Everything. Do you want an extra one? An extra 2? I'll get one more. 2 if that's okay. 1 more if that's okay. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Oh, actually, are they recyclable? I didn't know. Okay, thanks so much. Yeah.
No matter what.
I need one more for myself if that's okay. I gave it to Tim.
No,
Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. You take one. I'll actually give you this. Okay. Okay. Let's all go. Let's all go, everyone. Complete this mission. So there's 3 different pavilions that we're going to. Who remembers them? Remembers them from what I said earlier? Name 1, 2, or 3. What? Africa? Yes, that's one. 2 more. Australia, Australasia, Australasia. Yeah, sorry. And then one more. Up north, essentially. Anyone know? No, not Africa, but the tundra trek. So I'll give you guys some insight, and let me just confirm. It looks different from yesterday. Yes, we'll be going this way. So follow me, guys. Okay. Yeah.
What kind of pictures, like, you just take picture of the animal of any animal, like a whole?
It should be identified.
Oh, okay.
So let me just see. We're gonna go a bit more, right? Um, Ideally, we'll go through the tundra first. The tundra is the easiest. A few samples of organisms we'll see, about 3 or 4, and then we're gonna go to Australasia, and then we'll go to Africa hopefully. Yeah, so believe it or not, these species come from different places around the world, and they're cohabitated in here in Toronto. So just imagine the different environmental settings that they would be in to be able to survive and reproduce or habitate here. Just also be mindful that people may be coming in from different locations, trying to make space for them accordingly. But if you have questions and see any animals, take some photos. It's okay, even if it's a squirrel, you know? You can talk about thermoregulation. Just remember to stay close with the group. Don't waddle away. Don't also try to be as close as you can so that way you don't get delayed for timing. So just try to keep up your pace. Hopefully you can hear me from the very back. Robert, can you hear me? Yeah? Okay, perfect. So just let me know accordingly. Owen, you can hear me? Perfect. Okay, so the sooner that you guys come closer, the better. And we'll be able to separate in a certain exhibit to see different animals and oscillate in return. But just keep that in mind, that you're close by and you're attentive to any notes I share. Okay. So as you can see, I showed this to people yesterday that like you can see directions right here, right? Number of meters, right? Kind of like Google Maps or Apple iMaps. Essentially, the point is that you can quite readily identify, okay, where you have to go if you're lost here in the zoo, if you're behind, and you should be able to know. And hopefully we'll always be together, but we'll go straight to Tundra, which is closest. So let's make our way now. Oh yeah. Actually, so the issue, no, actually you can go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, yeah, it's okay.
So I don't.
Yeah, I'll go Australasia.
Okay.
You guys go ahead.
Okay.
Pretend go. No problem, no problem, no problem. We'll go to Australasia, because it does make sense. There was like a disclaimer pointed out, but essentially this was an efficient route I took a moment ago. So we'll go this way. That's okay, and then we'll come back if needed. So let's go straight to the right now. It's not too far, don't worry. So we're gonna go in, feel the change in temperature. And I want you to start getting, if you don't have your tools ready, start to take them out. You're gonna see unique animals here. Bird, like the cockatoo, I can see right there. Keep coming in, keep coming in. You'll see more animals here as well. Right now, though, it seems like the cockatoos are in action. You can hear them. The sound. Come closer a bit more to the left so others can see as well. Everyone can see the cockatoos. Anyone having difficulty seeing them? They're black with red tints near their tails. A red and there may at times, so depending on, or there are circumstances where you don't see all animals, as I said earlier. So there would be, for example, the batong that could scroll about in different locations, but you could still see signs of their presence. Maybe it could be the footmarks, like the prints or the impressions on the soil. It could also be where they huddle in near the cave on, or the small home or shed at the left-hand side. So that's something that you just want to keep in mind. Trying to see if there's anything I could share. Pretty much we could go down in just a moment. You guys can make your way, come closer, down to this end here. Also bear in mind that you'll see the species name also in italics in scientific notation. So just bear that in. Thanks, Mark. So now you can see some really nice birds, pigeons. Even though it's not part of like today's exercise, these are like bonus species for today. Reason being is because, like, as you can see, this large one right here, right? Kokobura. You can hear it like crow, you know, an amazing fashion. Yeah, so take photos, explore, and understand, by the way, birds are unique mammals for their ability, not only just to fly, but to maintain their respiratory rate and as well as to fluctuate in metabolism at different stages throughout their lives and as they migrate to different locations around the world. So you guys hopefully can appreciate this. We'll go a bit more down to see other things as well. There may be other, there are other birds. Oh, if you want to fill up a water bottle, you could do it here too. You could see a cage. There were other mammals, or birds, I mean, but I think maybe at least you could still appreciate plants. They're also living organisms. Here is a really interesting pigeon. And you'll see once again in italics, scientific name underneath the common name. In French, you'll have Portugal, Greece, or Tawny frogmouth. And they don't necessarily translate directly, but nonetheless, you guys can appreciate, you see the pigeon, the Victoria one there. Yeah, I think pretty much very few birds for now, but we'll move down because those are a few other. Oh, there's one here, the ibis. Have a look at the ibis. Has a very long net, being able to feed on certain types of prey. If you guys want to come closer, you may see it on either side, on the right or the left. But the pinkish, tuned, peachish pink ibis is what you can see here with its long beak to be able to cling down into the water to catch small prey, fishes, zooplankton, etc. As we move further, it is a bit hot, but we'll be going down here to the right-hand side. So we'll talk about these mothers. Yeah, believe it or not, they're called great mothers. So interestingly, these crayfish, so they have different features. Folks, come to the right-hand side if you can. Is there anyone else down there? Keep coming. Ace, anyone behind you? Call them all to come down if they can. Those are like bonus species. Come down this way, you guys. Because I just want you to appreciate anyone else there, Ace? If you could just have a look. Anyone else behind you guys, Simone? Anyone behind you guys? No? Okay. So I'm going to talk about in depth about specific species that I want you guys to take note of. Take photos of them so that way it'll help prepare you for your lab for assignment. Here are great mothers. You can appreciate not only as you can compare with birds, right? Changes in coloration, the feather pattern that we saw earlier. But here for these crayfish, these invertebrate, you can appreciate the appendages that they have and the multiplicity of them to be able to move into different locations. It says here that they have pleopods, which are like swimming legs, so they'll be able to migrate into different locations. And you can see how there's a multiplicity of them. 4 on one side, 4 on another, kind of like spiders. But as you can imagine, like they have, and those are just smaller appendages, they have larger ones to actually catch prey and to move certain debris. So that's something you want to keep in mind. These are, and once again, to highlight ectotherms. I'm just going to see if there's any other points I need to share. Usually it's also to keep in mind their environmental temperature, because that also plays a role. So if it's heated, for example, like if there's a heat pad for many amphibians, even though these are invertebrate, you'll appreciate that they also are able to naturally maintain certain levels of heat or temperature within themselves. Let me just go down. Any questions from anyone? Any questions? Any questions? No questions? Let's go a bit more down. I think there is something on the left-hand side. So the Maclay spectre, and the thorny stick insect. These two essentially, if you guys want, I know it's a bit hard to see both, but we'll take turns. These dried up looking leaves, these are actually not leaves. These are those specters actually. And so something unique about them is that they are under cinematic heat. So these lamps that you may see just above, and I'll just move so you guys have space. Those structures, for example, they are essentially endothermic, ectothermic, in which you have the heat lamp to maintain a level of heat and to be supported in their internal core temperature through the environment. So these ceramic heat lamps are not with just they're mainly like incandescent, meaning that they're like essentially with heat, limited light as a limited light source, but mainly provide heat for their for the species to grow and flourish. So you have these ones in a similar manner, really just being able to keep an eye. There are tree stick insects right there. They're a bit dark, but these are the large ones that you're looking at. This is like a very small one. These are large ones. If you have a look and come, like if you look at the edge, they're on this side, they're on that side. Yesterday they were on this side, which would make it easier, but if you want to go take a photo, you can as well. They're like very huge, probably the size of my, the distance between my two fingers here. So it's very large indeed. And they have a similar mode of thermoregulation. I'm going to talk about other ones in more depth to provide some more context. Here is essential bearded dragon. It has more food now, and you can see that it also eats, interestingly, you know, plants, flowers. Many of the flowers that we saw actually in our first week, you could see like the pollen, the petals, and the sepals as well. But the bearded dragon is quite interesting because it actually changes in color in its depending on the or with the change in temperature. And so that's something that you want to keep in mind. They are also endothermic, and as you can imagine, they're here in an exhibit inside, not outside in the winter cold, right? So just keep that in mind, that in order to really maintain that body temperature, they use the ceramic heat light that you could see there. They also indulge in not only like the plants you see there, but they have in its midst in co-interactions with the aloe vera. There's also a water to bask or like to essentially cool off if it gets too hot or if they've been in the sun too long. And they could also go down there, which is like a smaller miniature cave essentially for it to cool down and to relax rather than bask. Yes, and as you can imagine, with a darker pigment, as it absorbs, it will be able to absorb more sun or heat from the sun, which is in our case pretty much the artificial heat from the ceramic light or the ceramic heat lamp. And so you could see quite drastically the change or difference in colors for the appendages versus the core body of the bearded dragon. We'll move now from land into, the sea, into this fly river turtle. Take a photo if you can. If you want to discuss it for your lab 4 assignment, that's perfectly okay. The idea is that it's fully aquatic, similar to the sea turtle. It'll be able to navigate here at lower levels into the sea. But something to bear in mind is that keep the following in mind. It's influenced by the environment limitedly or in a smaller amount, and you can see it's eating herbs right now. But there was something I wanted to say. Yes, actually, there was once. Yes, do not have. So, like sea turtles, they don't have a heat pad, which you can imagine, right? That gives you a hint that they are not directly influenced by the environment, the external temperatures. So you can hint to yourselves which type it would be, endo or ectothermic. I'm just gonna move so you have space as well. You can look if you need to take photos. You took one? Okay, perfect. The other thing is we talked about homeotherms versus poikilotherms, right? What's a homeotherm? Anyone remember? Essentially, they maintain an internal core body temperature in a small range, or like it's nearly constant. As you could see, believe it or not, it's very happy. It's cool in this environment, and literally itself, the water is quite cool. It has a small range window that's 27 to 28 degrees, which gives you also a hint as to which other category it would fall under. We know that it's endothermic, right? But now you may also appreciate that it could be homeothermic, as it maintains a constant core body temperature. So you guys could take photos, maybe a mother and its child, but nonetheless quite interesting indeed for exploration. We'll move down. If there's any questions, let me know at any time. More than happy to help. We'll go down this way and we'll see more organisms, and pretty much native to Australia or Asia. As you can imagine, that's where the Australasia name comes from. The black tree monitor. It's not these turtles here, but it's actually a small black, like a thin black lizard. You see it? Yeah, that's the one. So it's on the stalk on the tree branch. Can you guys see? That's pretty much. It looks. If you look at the tail, you would just think it's a snake, but it's actually a type of lizard, an amphibian indeed. And so what you can appreciate here is, let's see. It's ectothermic, so therefore it's more sensitive to the external environmental temperature. And so as you can imagine, if it wants to cool down, it may go downwards into a small basin to relax, or to hide in a tree, right, in under the shade. And another option for it, if it actually wants to heat up itself and actually mobilize to be more active, then it'll go up towards like the branches, which generally speaking are more heated when closer to the ceramic lamp. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Sorry? Yeah. Yeah. Did you guys get to go? Yeah, so I went. If we are your whole group is here?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Did you go to the tundra already? We'll go all together to the tundra and then we'll go to Africa together.
We just arrived here, so we're gonna.
Oh, that's okay. Take your time then, because if you go the long way,
Yeah.
you may only see a few. I think we'll see how many we can find.
The short way is.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if you'll be able to actually see this exhibit. I only saw a few, but if you find them, that's good. That's perfect indeed. Keep it up though. Thanks for the card as well. Elisha. If anyone left anything as they were walking through, sorry by the way. No problem. Now I talked about the ectotherm. Just bear in mind the sensitivity once again. If it needs to be in a heat pad, like underneath the heat pad for warming up, then it will do so. I think it's on the right-hand side, and then it'll go close by into the water to drink and also to cool down accordingly. Keep in mind as well the pigment of their skin, because that will give you an indicator of how well it readily absorbs heat from different rays of the sun. Now, I don't have things for this, but they're similar to the other organisms I mentioned beforehand. Endothermic, the emerald tree boa, and this one, there's another one. The snake on the right, I forgot its name. That's the emerald tree. So that's a green tree python. That's the emerald tree boa. Emerald tree boa and the green tree python. Yes, they are very interesting. For one, they have similar traits that you'll be able to enjoy briefly. They're ectothermic, so they'll move and migrate to different environments for greater climates. If you guys need to come closer, if you can't hear me, let me know. It could be the case that it's not here, or it could be at the back. Yes. So you'll see, just like the photo here, what distinguishes the emerald tree boa from the green tree python is that the white stripes, pretty much. Emerald tree has white stripes. The green tree python has white dots. And so you can actually appreciate the differences and yes, the similarities as well. If you want, you can also take a photo down there. There's another green tree python on the right. Obviously, you guys don't want to come too close and knock the glass, as you don't want to come too close to any snake, generally speaking. Some are friendly, some are like garden snakes are more kind, or let's just say they're beneficial, of course, but just bear in mind that you are safe whenever interacting. Ectothermic once again, and so they're able to essentially move to different locations to essentially optimize the temperature from the environment that they would want to maintain. Any questions? Any questions? No? Let's
We have feeding pads here.
paths? Feeding pads? Let me just confirm. They may. I don't think so though. So they are arboreal, so they won't use a heat pad. Pretty much they're limited. Maybe if it's okay, could we ask a few questions?
Unfortunately, I'm part of the utilities. I'm not on
I see.
animal specific.
No problem, no problem, no problem. Take care. So just for context though, they won't use a heat pad. So they'll have limitations on to where they would go to maintain or essentially optimize their core body temperature with the external environment. But one other benefit that we can highlight here today is that they do move from cooler to warmer areas to bask essentially pretty much tan under the sun, which is the heat lamp there, and they would be able to increase essentially raise in body temperature or raise in and warm up essentially at higher locations and cool down at lower locations where the water is present or where the shade is also available for both the emerald tree boa and the green tree python, which is here and down there. Any questions? You guys can also take photos of any other organisms that you see, and you may be able to find and notice other similar traits. The emerald tree boa is also here. Wow, so yesterday it was like looking down the other way. Today it's looking down this way in front of you guys, so it really wants you to give it a nice photo for your lab for assignment. So you guys can go ahead if you need to. Did we go here? No. So in about a minute, we'll move down to that side. Did anyone see the iguana, by the way? The iguana would be cool to see, but I don't know if we'll see it today. But it's not a problem at all, so don't worry. The iguana, I believe, was also down there as well, where one of the other gentlemen are outside of our practical. But nonetheless, you guys can appreciate that these are different species living at different environments with different temperatures that are regulated either within themselves or from the environment outside. Now, on a side note, some of these may be under conservative efforts because of the different essentially concerns arising for their own safety within the real world in different locations where they may be poached or may be sold and used in other ways that may not be ethical. So just bear that in mind. Like here you can see the law-bounded iguana is critically endangered, and so you may see these different signs to highlight to you on the spectrum if they're nearly extinct and what efforts can be done to support their survival. I have one about this wombat. You guys see it? Who can see the wombat? The wombat's down inside, like behind the scenes, right? So let's just see if I could highlight something. Actually, so I used to talk about, so I had another journey like to talk about endotherms versus exotherms. But the point is, like polar bears, like Arctic wolves that you'll see hopefully soon, they have an undercoat, one, and they also have fur above it. Some have fur, some have feathers, but it's very similar in which that they are able to maintain their body temperature, their core body temperature, generally independent from the environment. That being said, they're able to, of course, interact, right? Polar bears can eat fishes in the sea, and Arctic wolves will do similar things as well. But here for the wombat, you can see it eating hay down in shrubs at the very back. It can also, mirage and like move around different locations if it wants to cool down, right? Like ourselves, if we're feeling hot, we can take off our jackets. In this case, they'll go either shed itself or move down into one of the cooler areas. And it's also, you may notice this place feels a bit cooler. There's actually an AC here present to support its survival and its comfortability in the exhibit. So just bear that in mind. There's also like wires here as well. And once again, you'll see the name, the southern hairy-nosed wombat. And so don't worry if you can't take photos of it like behind the scenes, but hopefully you'll see many other organisms and animals soon. Any questions before we leave? I know that sounds sad, but let's see if I can find another. Yes, I think we have a few more down that way. I just want to make sure I could grab everyone. Everyone's here, right, from our lab? All 18 of you or 20? Anyone from Practical 39 still here? No? Okay, let's go straight ahead. And these are more facts about the southern hairy-nosed wombat that you may want to know. Their location in Australia, found in the West End. And you'll hopefully appreciate other things from other animals, amphibians, reptiles here too. So we have the Suleiman Island skink. Have a look right there. There's one. And actually, there's something I have to talk to you guys about this one. But go ahead, take photos. Take photos. It's okay. And I want to give a nice rum too. So you can see it's under a red heated lamp. It actually doesn't see red light, but the idea is for it to be able to, with the heat that comes through, be able to bask accordingly. And so think about what I've talked about from before. If it basks, it may want to cool down from the environment. And so that's a hint that it's an ectotherm. Sorry, anyone else behind you from the left? Let's make space, hopefully, in case anyone else comes. Okay, perfect, you guys. Come in if you can. The point is that it's also ectothermic. So you want to be able to describe what would that benefit be of the red heat lamp, for example, or the red wavelength lamp, which is available to essentially help it move from warmer to a cooler location, or in this case, from cooler to warmer. And if it wants to go down and cool down, it will go near the water, down to the shade, and thus thermoregulate itself in the environment. So just bear that in mind, connecting the dots within the habitat and its physiological or thermoregulatory traits. Any questions from anyone? Yes. Okay. Take us of everything, or just like in general for the assignment? Each animal, take one. Take one or two. For the assignment itself, 3 out of the many that you take. So take as, I would recommend at least 1 photo of each that we talk about, that I like make notes of or share with you guys. So that way, if you wanted to choose like a really high quality image of, let's say, a penguin or of the skink, then you should be able to describe more productively what their traits are for thermoregulation, where you found them, what the scientific name is, and so any other details. Pretty much 1 photo of the top, 1 photo of the bottom. And if you see another one, you could take another photo in its habitat. Answers your question? Yeah, perfect. No problem. We'll make space for those that are coming in, and we'll see more organisms soon. There is the island tree frog. I think it's also ectothermic. It's usually hidden to cool down, as you could see. This is a good contrast, right? I'll also show it here. The idea is that you have one is underneath one of the rocks, cooling down, and one is just above, or the heat lamp is at higher proximity or higher length, elevation, right? So imagine the one on top, if you were going to do a physiological assay, will likely be, at a higher temperature, it's ectothermic, whereas the one underneath, cooling down, is likely at a lower temperature. Both are ectothermic species, right? But they also do evaporative cooling, just like ourselves. So like sweating to reduce temperatures. By the way, those from Practical 39, you could come just a bit more closer in case other people try to pass by. But you'll see these Suleiman Island leaf frogs in different locations. Any questions? And you almost see staff come in and out to actually regulate the temperatures of these organisms after all, right? Like they are species and they need to be treated well. So they're happily able to, treat them in the best of ways. So before anyone leaves, we're here in one of the last locations for the Australasia exhibit. Or the pavilion here, and I'm going to talk about the reef here, the Great Barrier Reef, in a nutshell. This is like an example of it. I'll just move so you guys have more space. You could also scan the QR code to see how they hear how they sound. But has anyone heard of the Great Barrier Reef before? You guys have, yeah. From from lecture material, right? Hopefully. Or even if you haven't, from documentaries and just prior knowledge, that's great as well. The idea is that they're also under conservation efforts because, as you can imagine, they exist in the ocean floor. And so many organisms depend on the marine life found within the coral reefs. And they're also living organisms. Right. And so, believe it or not, they're also sensitive to changes in temperature, salinity, and pH. They're also ectothermic, right? So imagine if the temperature of the sea rises up, they also would increase in temperature, but that can also be detrimental because not always will you find species to live and to actually be poikilothermic like our Daphnia, right? So there is a range in which coral reefs and many other organisms that that reside within the reefs themselves survive in. So you want to bear in mind that you obviously with environmental pollution, water pollution, we don't want to run the risk of not only endangering the reefs themselves as species of organisms, but also the many hundreds, if not thousands, of other species that are influenced or depend or interact more so with the coral reefs. Any questions? Any questions from anyone? You also notice the pigmentation. If they calcify following, let's say, toxic waste disposal, they'll actually turn skull white. So imagine the color of a skull. They'll turn that white, and that's actually a depiction of them slowly dying. So you can just imagine the effect that would have on many other species that depend on the reefs for shelter from other predators, but also for nutrients in and through the coral reefs. Sorry for taking your room. No problem. Really appreciate the help. I'll make some more space for you guys to come in. But thank you so much. Once again, as well, I said there are many species, by the way, that depend ectothermically as well. We have the pot-bellied, what are it called? Seahorses, pot-bellied seahorses. If you have a look, you also, if you come close, you'll see how its appendages or like mini gills are fluttering around. So it's really cool because they'll move up and down, as you can see the one on the right, but also they'll move left to right, forward and back in different XYZ planes or directions. So that's something that you want to, kind of appreciate. Yes, they're also ectothermic, yet the chiller is set at 18 degrees. So that hints to you that that in this case, they generally speaking want to be homeothermic or within a small range for survival. Yes, they could be like Daphnia and poikilothermic like most other fishes, but then you just want to maintain nonetheless their range of temperature for thermoregulation. But just to clarify, these are poikilotherms like the cute Daphnia that we saw in lab 3. I'll move forward to the moon jelly. Do you guys see it? No? Okay. We'll see another set of jellies. They're not like jellyfishes, or they're not technically fishes, but you could see many other types of fishes in this exhibit on the left-hand side. Once again, similar to what I've said before. But let's have a look at that side. Watch out, folks. Sorry. So let's have a look here, you guys. Let's pay attention. These are jellies. I know you think I should stop and say and correct me that they're jellyfishes, but they're technically not fishes. So these are called jellies. They're very beautiful indeed. And they look literally biofluorescent indeed. If you were actually able to see this deep into the ocean where there's limited light, you could see how they look on the right-hand side in blue. And there are other jellies essentially that are more poisonous, like the boxer jellyfish or jelly, that is essentially very detrimental if it stings you. You actually need emergency first aid. So, and I'm being trained, but nonetheless, that's a separate point. This one, as you can see, is moving inwards and outwards its antennae. And there's more details here where you could actually appreciate the different, not only the morphology, but the different structures and the anatomy of these jellies. So you can appreciate it. Not every organism needs a brain or a central nervous system. So that's something you can appreciate from these jellies that are able to live their lives quite freely. Any questions? Any questions, folks? Were you able to take a good number of photos? Yes? Are you able to understand thermoregulation to extent here? Yes?
Yep.
Okay. One quick question. What do you think these organisms are? Ectothermic or endothermic? I heard ectothermic. Anyone think endothermic?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, ectothermic is correct. So reason being is as well, in the cold waters, they are generally speaking attuned to the changes in temperature, though they are nonetheless similar to the Daphnia. They can change drastically and be sensitive drastically to changes in that changes in the environment. That's like a baby one, by the way. They're just so cute. So if you guys want to take a photo of one that looks like a mushroom, then you can. We are about to leave. Any final questions before we go to the tundra? Yes. Endothermic organisms would be they are. Let me just, because I want to also clarify those online. Endothermic, a great question, folks. Endothermic organisms are influenced, generally speaking, from their internal core body processes like metabolism, and within it catabolism, anabolism, and other processes that exist in biochemistry. But something to note is that even endotherms are sensitive to their environment, right? We are endotherms and we get cold when it's snowy, right? So just bear that in mind. There's ways that they regulate their temperature in return. And we are also homeotherms because we have a small range in where we actually be able to maintain our biosynthetic reactions and essentially pathways or metabolism within our bodies. So great question. Any other questions from anyone here? If not, we could go straight ahead now to the tundra. Thanks a lot. It is a shift of gears because the tundra makes things more easier to understand, but hopefully you'll get the understanding here. You could begin getting your jackets zipped up. It is going to be a bit cold, as you can imagine, in the tundra and in the present Toronto snow. I'll let you guys all go. Bio 3D, Bio Practical 39. You guys can make your way. Practical 39, Practical 39. Okay, perfect. Okay, so Next stop, we came down from that side. Next stop is to the tundra. So we just have to reverse our steps. We're gonna go down this way. Watch out the ice. But you know, something you can appreciate is like you may be surprised. This is just a small, step from one location or one pavilion to another. Just imagine in the real world, there isn't just like separations between continents and countries themselves within them, but also different habitats. And there's a heterogeneity of different organisms that exist, from many of which we haven't seen today. But what we could really do appreciate for similar patterns in morphology, in structure, and in thermoregulation as well. We're going to go to Australasia. Sorry, that's Australasia. And then we're going to the tundra now. Any questions once again? You may also see some squirrels or other animals walking about, and it's perfectly okay to take photos too. And hopefully you'll see more animals soon in the snow. If you look at the map, you'll hopefully also see which types of animals we'll be seeing soon, so you can get yourself prepped to take photos accordingly. Bear in mind that they are quite active, so you want to be steady with your photos if you can, or a video can also work to take screenshots. Those are videos of bats down there. Those are the Arctic wolves. You could start seeing them. Arctic wolves down there, they're coming to us saying hi, giving us Assalamu, inshallah. So you guys can see them. They'll move to different locations. They're moving towards the right. We can follow them accordingly and hopefully see them close up. So they're coming up. You guys can brace yourselves, take some nice photos. Come, you guys, take some photos of the Arctic wolves. So let's see if there's anything I could talk about. So as I talked about earlier for the wombats, remember how they have fur? In a similar case, they have an undercoat and they have fur. And believe it or not, if you have a close look, they're actually more dark, these wolves, underneath their skin. So you could actually appreciate that they are using two modes of, or two layers, literally, if not multiple, of thermoregulation as endotherms. One with the heat that can be trapped in through the fur itself, and another through the radiation that would essentially be absorbed through their darker skin. If you guys need help, hopefully we'll see. You could also search online the scientific name. It's pretty much down there. But we'll go around and hopefully we'll see more organisms on this route. Any questions, folks? I'll talk a bit more if needed. If you miss out on what I said earlier, then I can more than happily repeat some things. They're smaller than gray wolves with a smaller snout, so that's how you depict them morphologically and compare them accordingly with other organisms. Is there space on this side? Okay, so I think we have to go down that route. Let me just see. Just give me one moment. Okay. So normally we would have access to this space, so we have to go around the other way, which is okay, because we're in a zoo. We're looking at different organisms and mammals as well, so that's perfectly okay. Here's the Arctic wolf. Scientific notation if you want to include it for your figure caption, which you need, by the way. So Canis lupus hunsinicus, and that's actually reflecting of where they were likely found, likely in the Hudson Bay region. So that's just, it is an endoderm, yes. So essentially, we can make use of the scientific name as well, and we'll go around and just understand that the zoo is under construction, which is why some locations are blocked off. So, and that's why it may take us a bit of time to also go to the African Pavilion, which is our last one. So hopefully you guys can appreciate this and actually come to terms with how majestic these beautiful creations are.
Well, how can people be atheist?
You know,
Look at the animals and thinking,
no, make it easy. They are though. They are though. You know.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to have a closer look again at the Arctic wolves and see if you can see more than just pairs of them, come down this way. I think we already one is coming up. Sorry. You can see this one coming by, two of them. You can just see how thick the blubber, and we're going to talk about that for another. The polar bears, they have what's called blubber. So it's like a big layer of fat on top of which is fur. So, and that's 11 centimeters thick. So just imagine you're going to compare this with that, and it's going to be even more thicker.
Mother phone's dying, so would it be problematic if I rely on someone's photos? But it's obviously use my own like.
That's okay. That's
fine?
okay.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. If anyone's having difficulty taking photos, let's say they don't have a phone or there's their battery's low, I don't mind if you take photos, but try to use independent images if possible. So that way and especially of course the captions have to be independent. So that way you guys are able to flourish for the lab for assignment. I think they're inside today. These are snow geese. Yesterday they were here. They're actually quite beautiful. Let's see if I can find anything. Okay, let's go this way. It's okay. We'll go straight to the polar bears. Any questions, folks? No questions? And sometimes you'll be able to capture at open spaces where there's glass or barbed wire, the other organisms and animals. So we'll likely see that in the African Pavilion or in Africa, essentially. But appreciate now that you could see many organisms here in due time, including ourselves, you know? If you wanted to take a photo of yourself, then include that for the lab. I would say that would be a first. So, but I don't want everyone taking photos of the same person and then. But nonetheless, have a look. There's many opportunities for you to do this in and outside of the Toronto Zoo. If anyone can't hear me at the very back, just let me know. Elisha, can you hear me? Perfect, perfect, perfect. Before we see the polar bears, we may see other organisms. Yesterday there was a duck, a stream of ducks down here, mallard ducks. Let's see. We may see them afterwards, so it's okay, like when we go back. Let's see. Canadian geese, you can take a photo. We have Canadian geese. Try to catch up, folks. Keep it up. We'll pause shortly. Here's the polar bear. Here's the polar bear, you guys. So this is beautiful. You guys can see the polar bear here, and then on the right-hand side, we'll have another set of, like you guys can go either here or down that side to see if there's another polar bear, because I think there is space. Actually, before the two of you go, I'll talk about a few things about these polar bears. Let's just talk about them. Obviously, you can see it lying down there. There's a reason it's there and not, somewhere else. It is an endotherm after all. Remember I said what distinguishes them is that unlike the Arctic wolves, they have a layer called blubber. That's like a thick layer, outermost layer of fat. And then above that is their fur. So you want to just understand that they're trying to thermoregulate themselves, and think of it like an insulatory jacket that many of us wear right now in the winter. But what's unique is that in the winter snow, they're able to, maintain direct open exposure to, the cold, like in the Arctic, for example, or in the Antarctic, or even here in Toronto Zoo, within the snow. So just understand a bit about that. They're endothermic. Average winter temperature where they reside is at -34 degrees, and then in the summer it's 0 degrees centigrade. So that gives you a picture. It's a wide range of temperatures. So think about which type of category that would be: homeotherms or poikilotherms. Anyone know? P for polar bears starts with the letter P. Maybe from the two categories, it may also start with the letter P. Kilotherms, maybe. Essentially because there's a wide range that they're able to survive in, -34 degrees to 0 degrees. So just imagine, even though they're endotherms, they're also poikilotherms and are able to survive and, cohabituate in different environments, even in the winter cold. And so just imagine coming by, in the spring, you may even still see the polar bears. And we may see them actually on the right-hand side. So let's have a look. In case you guys want to take a more appropriate photo, and you can, of course, do this. I don't know if, let's see. If it's not here, then let's see. Okay, so pause right here just for a moment. We may or may not get access to seeing the polar bear in another location, but we'll come back and likely it'll move. But the point as well is that it also, like Arctic wolves, have darkened skin. So if you move the fur itself, you'll appreciate the dark skin that is used for thermoregulation to absorb heat, and also the fur above to keep it away and distant from direct cold exposure. Now you can see American bald eagle right up close. If you want to take a photo, you can. And just also similarly appreciate, just like in Australasia, that we're able to find and actually see unique observations of endotherms that are able to fly into different locations and essentially maintain their metabolic rate, depending if they're flying, if they're migrating, if they're hunting down prey, if they're basking, and there's different conditions that they would be existent in. And so they try to essentially, very beautiful. For me, like indeed is one of the most, it's a very appealing creation of the Almighty. And I think that's something that we could definitely appreciate here with the unique feathers and coloration as well. Notice how like each feather, you can almost count near the very bottom, and how they spread out and are dispersed near the top. And so that could give you a highlight as to the different functions these wings and the feathers themselves have at the more ultrastructural level or morphological level. Any questions about American bald eagles or Arctic wolves, which are now down there washing about? Any questions? Okay, let's go straight ahead. That's okay. Oh, there's no problem. And don't worry, if you guys need space, we'll make space for each other. Some folks went a bit ahead. Maybe they're able to see the polar bear. I think they can. And this is another location where they can be found. This is its own cave where it would just sit down, migrate, and be with other polar bears. We saw it down there. So it's okay. We're ahead of the game of now being able to just pass by. But if you miss the name, Ursus maritimus or maritimus is its Latin name. URSUS space MARITIMUS. So you guys could be able to search and describe, if you want, the significance of their name. Not to say that you'll be able to definitely explore it in a more enlightening way. We'll make our way. Folks, try not to stay all together accordingly. Don't stay too far behind, but also do stay up close. I'm trying to see if you guys see anything in there or no. Yeah, so that's okay. That's okay. We can make our way to the right.
That's one right?
That's actually very beautiful.
You know, looking at how designed everything is, right?
Yes,
How can you
it is. It is. One of the words because it's so important to analyze. I wanted to also highlight here. I think paper fell out.
Oh, thank you.
No problem. So this is another location the polar bears could reside, right? So imagine, as we talked about endotherm, right? They would, lie down perhaps either in the sun or cool down here in the water, and they could swim, right? Polar bears can swim indeed. So you may actually find them in different locations here or down hunting for prey. Like actually right here, I think it's eating something. I don't want to mistaken if it's a fish, but it's actually down at that side of the pavilion. It would be hard to see it from the other end, but nonetheless, you can come to appreciate that there are different ways that these endotherms, and previously we talked about exotherms, live themselves around the world. You guys could take many solid photos of the Arctic wolves here right now. If you guys want to, you can. There's like a huddle of them, a class, a cohort of them right here. And then, yeah, if you, can you see it?
Yeah, it's bright.
Yeah. Come on, my angle, maybe you'll see it more easily.
Oh, I got a few photos of them.
Oh, okay.
You guys were like,
That's nice, though. That's really good. So let me see if I could find another photo, another species. We'll go down actually when you guys are ready. I don't want to take you guys away. You'll see literally some like Canadian geese flying up in the sky. You also notice that there's solar panels down there. So likely there's other organisms if we were to turn around, that they're also being fed for the polar bears. But let's go down, folks, when you're ready. And I don't mind to wait. I just don't want you guys to miss out. That's my concern. But we could take our time. We can take our time going down, up and down, different places. We're like halfway into the lab, just for context. And plastic waste is something that's very concerning, actually. Plastic pollution in many places around the world, in coastal regions across Africa, in both Americas, North and South, in Asia, especially I would say around Asia is where it's highly densified, but also in Greenland as well. And in many places around the world in coastal regions of Africa and in Australia. So just imagine the importance of, as I said, for coral reefs, the impact that they would have around the world. We saw the American eagle. Is it okay if I pass through? Sorry, we're just gonna pass through. No problem, no problem. Everyone can pass through. It's okay, single file, folks. That's okay. No problem, no problem. So there also are different paths. As you can see, a gentleman is down on that end. So we may take that path to see if we can explore other organisms. I'm hoping we find one more. I think it's lost. You also see pine trees, pine needle trees here, wheat as well. Those are also living organisms. Arctic wolf down that side. Watch out, folks. I'll pause here so that way everyone can catch up. You also notice, okay, I will apologize. I know it's a bit of a long walk, but we're really pretty much halfway there. I just want to get everyone here as well. You'll notice like different animals will showcase different behaviors. Sometimes they're on like hunting mode. Sometimes they're relaxing. Sometimes they're showing companionship as, a group of, brothers or siblings, sisters that are migrating to different locations on the run. And sometimes, they actually are interacting with other species positively, cooperatively, and sometimes negatively in the sense that they are, following predation. But nonetheless, what we can say is that, human beings can actually coordinate positively, cooperatively with Arctic wolves. Why not, like, obviously, hunting them ungraciously. But you even interacting with them, like for example, First Nations, they use them for traveling into different locations with caribou, and also for hunting out certain prey. So that's a great way for us to at least appreciate the differences that species exist with ourselves as the human species. So just something to point out. Humans are also, for those that are wondering, for their formal lab report, if they not formal lab report assignment, you could search the Latin name up if you wish for a photo. But nonetheless, and again, we see these Arctic wolves. They're so happy and delighted to see you too, I hope. Sorry.
You mentioned the Brotherhood in wolves.
Ah,
You know what I thought of? I'll let you guys put what I thought of.
Alhamdulillah. That's amazing, a beautiful idea.
I'll let you think what Rich thought of. Ain't that you know that?
Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. May Allah accept that. I'm just gonna see, because there is one more organism. I think it's down this way. Let's go. One more. Stay right around here, folks. I'm gonna try to see if I can find it for you guys in advance, so you guys don't have to walk too much. Stay right here. Stay right here.
Oh, yeah?
I'm just looking for penguins.
I think they're on the way to something else. I want to say there's someone.
Maybe I'll see if they show it differently on the map. That's okay. That's okay.
Off the trail.
Yeah, I saw it yesterday, but I just don't know because it's a very beautiful zoo. So I may have lost track, but I'll have a look. It's okay. Thank you. We'll go forward. Go straight ahead, you guys. We may go to the next pavilion or see other species in the meantime. Um, don't worry. Keep going ahead, you guys. Yeah. Okay. Don't worry, you guys. Keep going ahead. Before we go to Africa, we want to make one more stop. I think we may even see it in Africa, so that's better. Let's see. Pause, folks, right here. We were down there. I'm just trying to see. One moment, folks. Sorry. We're going to go down that route, and we're going to pass by Africa. And then you'll see what I'm talking about there. It'll be a surprise. Everyone okay? Do you guys need a break? Yeah? You guys need a break? If you want to sit down, I don't mind.
We go this way, and then
The thing is, we don't have many seats here. So let's see. We'll pause down that side, okay? If you guys need to sit down, I don't mind. Yeah.
The other and also
Okay, perfect. Okay. Have you guys has the other group Mona seen the exhibit or no?
I know I saw Mona's group when we were in Australasia. I
Oh.
think you were there too.
Yes.
I think all three of us overlapped there.
Okay.
But I'm thinking about it because I think I took like 10 minutes at Chandra
Okay.
before I got to Australasia. So I'm not sure if you have enough time to go after first now. Otherwise, so.
Okay. I'll let you guys go first. We're just gonna take a mini break. Thanks a lot. So you guys can keep going if you're practical 37. I just want you guys to have a break because I felt like you guys need one. You guys wanna sit somewhere? I saw a bench there, yeah. If you guys okay, how many of you need a break? No break? No break?
Can I go?
I would love to go with you guys if you guys are ready. Are you guys okay? I saw some of you. Did you want a break? It's okay. I don't mind.
I don't know now.
It's okay. Okay, anyone here who officially wants a break? You would like a break? Or do you want to finish early? Finish early?
Yeah.
Don't worry about what anyone else says. I just want to know because I don't want anyone being like overburdened, essentially. No, speak for yourself though. Come.
I would like to look at like more animals. Like if others want to finish them, then they can finish.
So let's go ahead. Let's go to Africa, folks. Let's fly to Africa if you want. You could run, jog, or if you want to walk, that's perfectly okay. I'll walk so you guys can all be ahead. And I'll just be at the front to keep an eye on you guys. Keep walking. We'll go ahead and we'll make way for our one of our final destinations. If you guys want to stay longer and take more photos of like Indo-Malay, which is also close by, you can. Or after going to Africa, inshallah, and then you'll be able to explore more. I just want to let you know, let's see. Yeah, okay. We'll go this way. Actually, pause, folks. We may see more animals here. One moment. You guys can make your way. You can go up, it's okay. I just wanted to make it easier for you guys to see more. Your group is okay? Oh, I see. Okay. So we'll all go all in one file. Sorry. So the issue is about the African is that I only saw three this week. I think four. But yeah. So I came yesterday, but the issue is that the exhibit I finished. As you said, we went like we were guided to go down this route.
Yeah.
Which is a bit longer. So hopefully, even if students weren't able to take photos for the first two things, I'll be able to take them for a lot more time for this one.
I think take one for every single.
That's good. Same thing. Yeah. But just like for expectations, if you wanted to see other animals or yeah. FLR briefly, yeah. Yeah. Pretty much what was needed for them to like understand. And I went over the students with Walker because so that should be okay. Yeah, okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I understand. I think honestly if they're prepped in advance, it's not only better in their grades, but also better for their understanding for future FLR. Keep it up, everyone. You can do it. Anyone have questions? This is the time to ask for lab 4. Ideally, you would want at least one being either or, and you would also want to highlight like poikilotherm or homeotherm, which like adds on to like the adds on to your grade, but more so adds on to your understanding of specific organisms. You're only doing 3 at the end of the day, but if you provide more details, more quality, the better. Almost there. Or at least halfway, because it's a bit more rocking. But don't worry, guys. You guys are doing great. Keep the energy up the slope. let's pause here because we should go this way. Let's go this route. I went down this way and you could see other organisms. Let's go down this way. Hopefully we'll see more additional things here. I just want to make sure everyone's on up to pace. Keep going, keep walking, keep walking, keep walking, you guys. So the three of them were actually down that way. That's why. So it's okay. We're going the right spot. This is no. I was saying from the past. So that I didn't. I just saw that label that was showing like the.
No, I knew I had to go this way.
Yeah,
But
perfect. Okay, but your students are also aware.
I wasn't sure because I think they came in earlier because I was trying to catch the lake.
Oh, okay.
So
These are your students too, or no? Okay. I was just worried they don't know where to go. But they know? Perfect. Okay. Thanks a lot. Okay, folks. So we're going into the jungle. We're gonna make a left here. Whoa. Okay. Pause for one moment. Oh, sorry. Okay. That's good. 37 or 30, 41. Okay. So you guys can join me. She's at the back, just catching up everyone else. So let's go to the African rainforest. Let's see. Gorillas are not there presently, so we'll go here. Down here. Okay. So let's go this way, down this way, folks. Practical 39, practical 41. If you're also part of practical 37, come all the way down here. We're going to be joined in all together. Thanks a lot. Go ahead. You guys can hold it for each other, or if you see the waves, you open the door. If you're thirsty and need a break, this is time to get some water from the water fountain. Don't worry, it is drinkable. And now you guys can see the gorilla. The gorilla is so you guys you have to be quiet. So let me say what you need to know for lab 4 in a quiet voice, okay, folks? Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Okay, folks. If any TAs see more details or like more species that they need me to discuss, feel free to do so. I'm just trying to see if we have everything we need. Folks. So we have a Western lowland gorilla here, gorilla. So what we're going to see is we see one there munching on some shrubs, another on some leaves. And so I just want you guys to be mindful of a few things. We talked about many other species beforehand that thermoregulate in unique ways. And what can you imagine this species is? Do you think it's an endotherm or ectotherm?
Yeah. Endotherm.
Endotherm. I want to hear some more endotherms or ectotherm? Endotherm. Okay, perfect. So we're on the right track, folks. It's eating a banana right there on the right-hand side. So we have 3 gorillas here. And I want you to understand the following. And I'm saying this like to, authenticate the the vibe and the amusement that we'd have here in a positive manner, in an appropriate manner, hopefully. So what you guys can come, you guys, folks, let's pay attention. Pay attention, folks. I just want us to pay attention, folks. Those that are here for BIOA02, please pay attention. Take photos if you can of any of the three gorillas, and I want you to pay following attention. I said they're endotherms, right? We all agreed, most of us here. And something that I'll point out is that they also have black skin, right? Which is going to help them absorb the heat, right? Because they're getting energy in two forms, through metabolic processes and through absorbing heat from the sun, technically open sun above. And they're able to essentially migrate, move around, reproduce and with the energy that has been provided for them, right? So bear that in mind. And with the shrubs and resources that they have here, they're able to migrate, eat, and enjoy the life in this mini savanna. There is also a heat pad in their outdoor exhibit, so they can also heat up when needed, and they could also cool it down in many resting areas, like within the concave edges of the cave. You could see one in between the two, like FIFA octagonal or polygonal balls right there. You'll see two edges for them to shade in, and there's other locations for them to sit down, and many trees and herbs for them to eat and consume. They also sweat like ourselves and enjoy a house shower to cook down on or cool down on hot days. And they also huddle up to warm like penguins, and we're going to hopefully see something or some species soon. But nonetheless, enjoy what you see here from the Western lowland gorilla, and we can move forward now. When you're ready. You guys can also have a look at the different names of other gorillas here who have been here for some time. You know, some are some are older than others, 2005, 2009. Some of you may actually relate to oh, okay. So let's go ahead, guys. Let's go forward. There's also some so another way to regulate more water for them to cool down, right? But like a cup of lemonade for ourselves, right, to cool down when it's hot in the summer. I have a tiny tortoise. Let's see if it's here. It may be reserved in another location. It's actually sitting down, the tiny tortoise. If you guys want to take a photo, I'm okay with that. It's a tiny tortoise right there. Same one shown here. And actually one of the smallest, believe it or not, 11 to 12 centimeters long. And what we can see is that they're also ectothermic. Apologies if we're in the way for anyone. We can just be a bit more closer, hopefully. Of course, the distance as well. Yes. The Western lowland gorilla. No problem. You may also find a scientific notation there, but you can also search. But if you want, because it's only like 5 seconds away, you can also have a look for the Latin name. Maybe down there. But if you want, if anyone missed any details from the gorillas, you can actually go back just to make note of anything. But essentially, the tortoise is down there in the shrubs. It's similar to other tortoises or like turtles. They're not turtles technically, but the idea is that you can actually distinguish them based on their shell coloration, and you would be able to also note some similarities. Like they also are ectothermic and they evaporate. Like ourselves, they sweat and have they undergo evaporative cooling to be able to release excess heat from themselves. And that would be a great way for us to actually appreciate how they can influence and change their core body temperatures from their environment. We'll move just a bit forward. Sorry. Let's see if we find any organisms. Maybe not here. This is my first time here for like in a while, so we may see some things new for myself and perhaps for many of you as well. A good example of understanding the effects of the environment is like when you have logging versus unlogging, which essentially is like the removal and reduction of many trees or forestry, which once again, just like the coral reefs, have drastic effects on many organisms that survive, even things that you would imagine are very more, some that are vulnerable and some that you would assume are not. If we go down, I actually have to talk about this organism. It's a tomato frog. It looks like a tomato. Tomatoes, right? The tomato frog is right here. It also undergoes evaporative cooling. It could change the color of skin from light to dark to regulate its temperature. So think about the bearded dragon. If you guys want to know where I'm looking, have a look right there. I'll bend down and hopefully see it. That's frog. Latin name is above, and so it absorbs water through cool down. So it's like the inverse of evaporative cooling. Very similar processes, in though that you're able to adjust in this ectotherm the release and exchange of water and heat to thereby maintain its core temperature. So just bear that in mind, ambient temperature monitored. And that's also a hint that it's, even though it's an ectotherm, it is homeothermic because it, generally speaking, is more sensitive to changes in temperature. There is a spectrum between homeo and poikilothermic organisms, but the idea is that one are either more drastically influenced or subtly influenced by changes in their core, subtly change in their core temperatures. So just bear that in mind. More subtle, so homeothermic and poikilothermic, you can understand well. That's the tomato frog. We'll move up. Is there any other organism there? Or that could also be part of the same exhibit wherein the water could be used. A bit further up, folks, inshallah. We're going to go see some more animals, some cobras, some reptiles. Let's see if we can find them now. Do you have any questions? Did you get to see the gorilla, the name, or?
You already told me I didn't check it.
Oh, okay, that's okay. Okay, we see fishes. I wanted to show you. I don't think it's here. There is a crocodile. Let's see if we'll find it. It could be, yeah, it's on land. The crocodile, it may be also on that side. I'm just going to have a look. I think it's here. You guys can have a look here. Here is a crocodile. It is quite big. Think about the skink that I showed you earlier, a very long tail. You can see quite similar morphologies, and it's not a statue, it's a real crocodile, right? And so in this case, it is dwarf. Generally speaking, I'm just trying to highlight any additional things. Ectothermic as well, but it basks, right? So they'll cool down, evaporative cooling, sweating tears, literally, and also basking in the open sunlight. The same sunlight, by the way, that's connected to the gorillas, right? So just imagine the same sun, all species around the world, on planet Earth, are able to use in many beneficial ways, including ourselves through solar panels and for heating ourselves up. You guys can now see some other organisms when you're ready. Did I miss anything there? I don't know if there's more. Is there anything down on that side, or is that just an exit sign? Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you, Simone. Sorry, Dorlin. Thank you so much, Dorlin. I don't think. I mean, it's not to say that these are all amazing fishes. I think these are the Madagascar fishes. We may see other ones as well, but the point is that they're also ectothermic, influenced by the environmental temperature. So remember, as I talked about coral reefs, the same revolves around water as a source and medium that many fishes use in aquatic organisms to survive. That may be an eel or another type of, I don't know if I can see it well. Oh no, I'm seeing a reflection of your shirt. Sorry. I thought it was like a shirt. It's okay. But sorry. Now, with regards to this, nonetheless, there are many organisms that interact with one another. Right. This is an aquatic ecosystem, or like a microcosm of an aquatic ecosystem, meaning that there can be many more organisms across, different species, including zooplankton, the plants, the shrubs, populations of species that all come together. And this is an example of them. Now just magnify this like 20,000 times and you get the world, or even just an ocean, and then multiply that by at least 7,000 or 70,000 times. That's where you get a large biomass, or even a greater appreciation, hopefully, of the aquatic world. 70 of which we still don't know. So you can really appreciate, people take a lot of effort to create these organisms that could be seen behind us as well. They'll be giving out certain nutrients. The fishes move in left and right and are fed in unique ways. You can just see it right now if you guys want to have a look. What she's doing right now is either checking the temperature of the water to ensure that they're living well, or technically what can also be done is add in certain nutrients, right? So that way they're able to grow and live well and throughout their lives. Think of it like having a goldfish tank at home. And so you add in nutrients every now and then to feed and to take care of your fishies. Just like here in Africa and Madagascar, and like around here, and this is something I have to talk about, the cichlids. Okay, so beautiful, cover page for your laptop or your desktop. The idea is that, interestingly, these can also, like those ones, be poikilothermic, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, sorry, those are poikilothermic. And let's see, I have a bit more details to share. They're ectothermic in heated water, which is interesting. So you can appreciate different species of organisms wherever they may be, independent of what we saw in Madagascar. But here in Lake Malawi, you'll be able to appreciate the temperatures that they are able to survive most readily, and which is a great task, a daunting one indeed for like the Toronto Zoo staff, because look at all of these different species, and some are male, some are female, and just imagine how fine-tuned the water has to be able to actually, subhanAllah, actually help these, support these fishes to survive. It's amazing. Really, at every single life stage and every single species, male and female, all of them are able to suitably live or uniquely live in this environment and interact with one another. Something that, subhanAllah, is unfathomable. So bear that in mind, folks. We're almost there. Almost there. And by the way, this is our last, technically one of our final locations for today's lab. If you want to see the African penguins, that was my surprise. But if you want to, you can. Let's see if we can find anything else before we leave. I think there are more birds here, but I want us to go to the left. The veiled chameleon, the standard prototypical chameleon. Let's see if you find it here. The iguana is there. Iguana is there. Like the same iguana that we actually saw in the Australasia exhibit. The chameleon may be harder to see, as you can imagine, because it camouflages, right? But let's see if I'm able to see it. I will let you guys know. It's also under the barbed, like the. Let's see. It may be actually very difficult. It's at the top. So Yes, good catch as well. So it's at the top. If you guys come close, take your photos in or your phones in, without like dropping them. You can be able to see. You can take it. If you can't, it's okay. There are other ones as well, like other species that we'll be focusing on. But it's also ectothermic changes in color, like we talked about the bearded dragon and of other species as well, that they change in skin color. And unlike polar bears, right, because they could change from light to dark, these chameleons can change to adapt with the changes in environment for the environment with the environmental temperature, and they can actually capture certain wavelengths of light through their skin, and that can also play very beneficial for their own internal processes. And there's the iguana that I talked about briefly. I think on the right hand side we have a few more left. Just before we leave, because we may go back here, I'm just going to have a look to see if there's more species for you guys. Sorry, keep your way to that side. We'll go that way. There's a lot of, there are other species that we could look at, but I want to give you guys enough time to focus on what what I've talked about. This is one I also should talk about, the naked mole rat. So like you could see in clinical settings, even like right here, you could see that there is essentially an environment outside of their natural setting. I'm going to bend down so you guys can see. I think the naked mole rat is somewhere there. In the back, yeah. So you can see the shrubs and like there's a maze, right? Literally could go from place to place. And in the clinic, you actually sometimes deal with certain mammals for different assays. But just to make it clear, all of these need to be done ethically. Even how we treat mice, for example, giving them injections to keep them healthy and other things as well. But these are mole rats. So they're rats as a distinguishing factor. They're more larger. And these naked ones are more essentially limited in skin. So that also makes them vulnerable to certain things. And I may talk about this. Interestingly, it is the only or one of the only mammals, or let me just say in another way, these are poikilotherms. Think of your Daphnia. So they can raise up dramatically in heat in their core temperatures and lower down respectively as well. So this can make it interesting for like physiological, like different experiments that you may do in biology. But just keep in mind that, you know, these mole rats may actually interact with one another to maintain heat because they're very sensitive, right? They don't have as much fur like polar bears or like other mammals that we've seen before. Right, and they live in burrows which are at a constant temperature, so that way they don't run the risk of jeopardizing or running the risk of being overwhelmed or overburdened in their throughout their lives. So, and you could see like even at the back, there's some notes that the zoo staff make for each other because these are very sensitive organisms. So you just want to keep that in mind. They're very sensitive indeed. This is how they look in your infancy. And as they grow up, they keep getting more, they age, but essentially they grow. So just bear that in mind, folks. I don't know if I have it for this. No, let's see. I don't know. Oh, these are so this is one of the last, this is the final chapter for our lab 4, and it's down here. So let's go. Let's go down, folks, down the stairs if you can. We have a bird there. I'm trying to see if we'll see any. I think the hippo is hidden, which is okay. That's okay. Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, Jazakumullahu. So you guys, let's see if I find there. Thanks a lot. This is your hippo, folks. The hippo is here. It's hiding in the shade, and it's basking as well. So that gives you a hint. It's a particular type of mammal. It's actually endothermic, so it maintains its body temperature under the shade. And look at that. That tree has its own name as well. It's called a sausage tree. You can also take a photo if you wish. It has a, or like has a unique, I guess, arrangement, the curvature of its branches, right? And here it's also able to, with the moss, pick up any residual dust, debris, and helping to keep the hippo in its maintained environment. You can see it sleeping actually, or turning around. So that's pretty interesting. Yes.
Can you go to the lion if you want to see the lion right now?
I'll take you guys.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry. That's actually bonus, but we could look at it. Nocturnal coming out of they are nocturnal coming out during the coolest portions of the night. So think of it like maybe, or sorry, the coolest part of the day. So now, so another thing is that they secrete sweat in the form of blood to protect their skin from sunburn. So it's like an additional layer of coating. Hopefully everyone here is from the lab, right? Because I feel like some people are ahead. Stay right there. Practical 39. Please come down so that way you continue to pay attention to other species. That way you can keep them in your track in your phones for the lab 4 assignment. Please come down, folks. So I'll just highlight that, yeah, pretty much it has an additional layer. This endotherm here is able to maintain its body temperature through metabolic processes, but also stay attuned within the environment, in the water, if it wants to cool down, or submerge into other locations to just dry off in shade, or sorry, be enclosed in the shade. There is another thing. Yeah, it is sleeping. There was one more. Interestingly, they have at their top layer a thin layer of skin to help keep them cool, but this could lead to dehydration. So they essentially ooze blood sweat, which is an interesting phenomena. You don't actually see the blood, but the idea is that they sweat it out as like a artificial mechanism or superficial mechanism to cool off, like our cells for evaporative cooling. If we go, any questions, by the way, about these hippos, the pygmy hippos? No? I think I have one for the red-footed tortoise right there. I think it's the same one. It's ectothermic, hibernates in the winter, and covers themselves in mud, just like the one we saw earlier, to essentially cool down. It has a small pool as well. It's heated as well. So just think about the different ways this hopefully allows them, or hopefully they're able to essentially, like there's different methods to keep in mind. One is the environment, the changes of its temperature overall. Secondly, it's the suitability and the dependency on how the core body temperature of these organisms are influenced, and the constancy. So there's the constancy, how well it changes, the dependency, if it really like cares or not cares, but if it changes with changes in the environment, and generally speaking, the environment overall with the interactions of other species and the role of other heating sources or cooling pads, like the water that we have available for these species. So just bear those 3 pieces in mind when you put them in your paragraph description. The other layer of noting like where they're found in the world is also important, and how they thermoregulate. This is technically the final species for the lab, official one that we have to look at. If you guys want to look at lions, that's okay, or penguins as well. But sorry, like penguins may not be here, but importantly, the sacred ibis and the South Asian shell duck. I'll talk about the ibis particularly in that it's endothermic, as feathers, as we talked about other organisms, birds as well, have a similar trait. And I talked about the other ibis in the Australasian exhibit or pavilion, that they have long beaks to take out prey from the sea, to take out debris, or sorry, food from the debris that they see in their plates. So there's many unique traits that these organisms have, and they shiver to keep themselves warm, like ourselves. With the coats that we have, they have thick layers of fur and feathers. Sorry, watch out. Sorry, Alameen. Many birds stretch out their wings to absorb heat from the sun, to avoid having, burns as well, and also being able to survive in these environments that may be arid, may be dry, essentially. But you have the unique flavor of having water essentially available, so that they can essentially have their different parts of their body essentially cooled down. And there's also an AC, as you could feel here. They could take a dip into the water to cool down. One of my last points is, as a bird, which is relatively small for the spoonbills. I don't know if the spoonbills you could see, but essentially in other locations, you'll have like a spoonbill that is interestingly diurnal, meaning that they are able to have relatively high metabolic rates, and they travel in, they have 2 peak seasons essentially, and they're highly active in the open, in the natural environment. Yet something to keep in mind is that they're also under conservation efforts to be protected as an endangered species. So think about the important roles we talked about today, the thermoregulatory strategies that and morphological traits that these different species, from the fishes in the sea to the birds in the sky that fly up like these spoonbills or the ibis, and even other organisms that lie around the land, be it like tortoises or in the case of chameleons, many unique organisms. We talked about the great mothers as well. Amazing species from the tundra with Arctic wolves and the polar bears, including snow geese and American eagle, to all the way down to Africa here where we are in the pavilion with the ibis, the shell duck, chameleons, the hippo, the turtle tortoise as well, and the Australasian exhibit or pavilion, where we saw many amazing organisms as well, like the great mothers and the amazing organisms, the fly turtle as well, and many things that you can come to appreciate down the road, hopefully, like the Solomon Island tortoise and the stick insect as well. That's it, everyone. Hopefully I'll take you guys outside. Before I do so, any questions? And you make sure everyone's here as well. 5, I think we're missing a few of us. 2 more people. Anyone know where Robert, there you go, is Jai with you? Where do you guys go? Oh, water? Okay. So that's okay. If you got water with like some other animals over the site, that's also okay. We're gonna now be able to leave in just a moment, but I do want to highlight the following. I really appreciate your time. We're 2/3 into this practical, so congratulations, folks. I really hope that outside of the lab, you'll hopefully come to actually appreciate the different species you see around you, because they are actually undergoing thermoregulation, but also conservation throughout the world. And hopefully you can really appreciate the different behaviors and patterns and morphological traits that you see from thermoregulation to really appreciation of the different species that you see around you in and outside of labs. and overall, just coming to appreciate what you have in your own environments, the different species that you interact with. I'm going to highlight now, once again, lab 4 for your assignment. You need 3 photos of a species across different pavilions from the 3 pavilions that we looked at, the tundra, Africa, Australasia, all 3 different exhibits. You need at least 1. Just talk about 1 species with the photos that you have, with a detailed figure caption, with a paragraph description, talking about the species, their name, scientific notation as well, like the italic Latin form, which you could see like here for the fruit bat, which is down often in these different pavilions. But note as well the thermoregulatory pathways that we talked about. With that, really